All right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are on this beautiful planet. Welcome to the Inner Circle Live pre-New York session. I'm your host for this morning's session, Benny Allen, along with my awesome partner, Mr. Ryan Carthage. And we're definitely happy and grateful for all of you being here with us this morning as we take a look at the technicals and the fundamentals to see what we could take advantage of in the Forex market. So without further ado, let's make sure that we turn off any and all distractions, grab a pen and paper, take lots of notes, and let's make sure that we participate and engage. If everybody can hear me loud and clear this morning and you are all set and ready to go, drop me a 1 in the chat and we can get this session off to an awesome start. All right, all right. Good morning. All right, Benita, I see you coming in. All right. Okay. So hold on 1 second. Give me 1 second, everybody. All right, let's rock and roll. So we'll get out of here. We'll click over, right? And we want to start every morning with the credo, right? Take massive action. Let's make sure that we are accepting all possible losses before entering a trade. Preparing you for any outcome. Let's make sure that you center yourself in body, mind, and spirit, ensuring a balanced approach to trading, trusting your education, strategy, trading skills, and intuition. Let's imagine your trade successfully materializing. Obey your trading strategy, avoiding decisions based on greed or fear. And let's make sure that we're never looking back or stopping once your trade has commenced. All right. So with that being said, let's go ahead, jump over to the charts. Uh, this one is going to be a pretty light one for the most part this morning because I know I am waiting uh, for the CPI data, and a lot of other investors are as well, right? So we've got today at 8:30, the first CPI report for the year here in the United States, right? Big one. Everybody's waiting on it. And so we've got core CPI, month over month, CPI, month over month, and then your CPI for year over year. And then we've got unemployment claims. If we go over to trading economics, we will see that they've got a little report here. U.S. inflation rate set to rise to 3.2%. The annual inflation rate in the United States likely edged up to 3.2% in December from a 5-month low of 3.1% in November, mainly due to a smaller decrease in energy prices. Compared to November, consumer prices are expected to rise 0.2%, the most in 3 months. On the other hand, core inflation is expected to slow to 3.8%, the lowest since May. Okay. So that's the projection here on trading economics. We'll see how that comes through. I've seen they've been right on the money at times, and then in other times not so much. So we will continue to see what happens at 8:30 this morning. It's kind of at the market tied up, moving sideways. So moving on down to Bitcoin, it's above 46,000, right? So it just has quietly moved up and made its move. And then we got the Bitcoin ETF, which has been, people have been anticipating this for quite some time. So, hey, looks like Bitcoin may continue to head long. So we'll take a look at that. But that's good news for Bitcoin that the SEC approved for an ETF for Bitcoin. That's good for the crypto space as well. And so we see Australia trade surplus beats estimates. And then the Japan and leading index lowest in over 3 years. So we'll see, right? Again, the markets for a lot of pairs has been moving sideways as everybody is anticipating the inflation report today coming out of the United States. So any questions on what's going on fundamentally? Again, the big news is everybody's waiting at 8:30 for the CPI data to come through. No, we're good. Reese, I did not. You have a did not you have a you have an article or anything on there, or you want to fill us in on what happened with the with the SEC's Twitter account? Hey, Ryan, good morning, sir. How are you?
Good morning, bro. I'm doing well, man. How about yourself?
Doing pretty good. Got some snow, Ryan.
Yeah, man. It
Got,
finally opened
that's,
up.
that's some snow on the ground. You know how much we're expecting today?
I think it's like 1 to 3 inches, I believe.
1 to 3. Okay.
Yeah,
Well, here we can handle that here in Michigan, I guess.
yeah. Might get some more tomorrow and Saturday too. So
Gotcha. Anything fundamentally that you got your eye on outside of the CPI report at 8:30?
no, sir. Just sitting waiting on that, man.
Yep. You and me both. That's got the market, like I said, it's got the market tied up a bit. And um oh, it's a fake announcement. The Bitcoin ETF approval. Oh wow. Oh my goodness. Well, day prior, they put out a tweet saying Bitcoin ETF was approved and deleted it and posted another tweet saying their account was hacked. Oh my goodness. Oh wow. I had to read up on that. I appreciate the update. What in the world? Oh, well, I'll take that back for now then. Some comments on Bitcoin and well, the ETF. We'll see how it goes. What a mess. All right. Flip it over to the to the DXY. We'll take a look at this daily. And we can see that it's still holding below this daily resistance level there, moving sideways. So we'll see what happens. We can see that we are overbought, right? So our momentum to the upside is overbought right now with the US dollar. So we're gonna see. We're gonna see what happens with that core inflation. That's what I'm focused on. Um, is that core to see if it's moving down. But here we are, right? Sideways move in the range. Not really too much to be said about that, right? Still structured to the downside. Okay, still structured to the downside. Got a nice rejection and the evening star right here um, at this downtrend line. Okay, that's no denying that right there. That first shot to move, that major shot to move higher, we came right back down. Okay, so we're still holding below that level. Okay, quite some time. We struggled there, so we'll see what happens with the news at 8:30. Okay. Uh, any questions on the DXY or anything regarding the fundamentals?
No, sir.
No? All right. So just remain patient. So I want to start the day, right? I'm going to click through and take a look at these dollar pairs right now and see where they are um, ahead of the data that's coming out. And we can see here on the daily right now for the Aussie dollar, right? We drew this up a while ago and we are holding at that level. Past resistance becoming future support. The momentum, right, on our stochastic has pushed down. We are way oversold. We are in the buy zone. All right, for that. So let's see if this level continues to hold and if we gain some momentum to the upside, right? It could go either way though, with major fundamental data coming out. Okay. So if we look here at the at the 4 hour, looking at this ABCD wave, and you can see here, right? So if we come to the daily, okay, from doing our top down, this is now another low, right, in the zone. Okay, so if you don't know, you put your smart support in, and you will see that's another swing low there that we have. Okay, so we're going to put that in like so. Okay. And do this like that. And if we drop that down, we'll see across the board where our zone is. Okay. Past resistance becoming future support, price rejected. Okay, right at that 61.8 level. And of course, right ahead of the data, we are moving sideways on the Aussie dollar. Okay, and this is what we're looking like from the 1 hour. Okay, we've got the move down. Okay, and you can see where price made a deeper correction. If I can get that fib to come in. What's going on there? But it took the A out. And you can see because of the deeper correction that occurred on your 4 hour, your higher time frame, and now we're just holding steady, okay, ahead of the data to come out. We've got a 1 hour, our stochastic is headed back to the buy zone. Any questions on the Aussie dollar?
No, sir.
All right, all right. So that's that. I'm still tripping out over that Bitcoin thing. I'm gonna have to read up on that. Goodness. Let's take a look at the Euro USD. Okay. So we see here from the weekly, right? Ryan spotted a potential for a crown. We do have a left tip. It is a weekly longer term potential move. Right now, this week, we're moving bullish. Okay. And that is right. We don't have an official swing high yet. This is our second candle to the right. So that's long term what we have the possibility of. Right now, we have been moving long. We found support. Okay. So we may go back up to retest those highs, right? So we come in and we put in our smart support. Super cool feature, makes life easy. Okay. There we go. Okay. Make sure we link this down to the lower time frame. So we've got a swing low there. We've gotten bullish. Look at our stochastic. Okay, so the possibility of that there is a possibility for that to continue long. And Bitcoin in the house. We're gonna see. Uh, there we go. All right. So we're moving higher. We got a little gap action there. Maybe move higher to fill that gap. We come down to the 4. This is one we've been tracking for a while. This level, okay, you can see our daily support level coming in there. That swing low, you can see a little bit more clear on the 4 hour. And so we've been moving long since we broke this downtrend line. Okay. We know we've had a bearish dollar. Right, so it makes sense for that Euro USD to move up, but we're moving sideways ahead of the data. All right, if we move down to the 1 hour, this is where we had at 80.20 on the Euro USD. Okay. That played out to TP1, and now we're just stalling, right? Moving sideways. So that was a beautiful move on the 80.20 out of the zone. Over 200 pips to that 382. 200 pips or so. It's a great move, all right? Now we wait and see. It's a beautiful correction. Any questions on the Euro USD? No. All right, we'll keep rocking and rolling. Pound dollar. All right, let's go back. All right, take a look at it from the weekly. Okay, look at how we found support. The price has just been moving up. Okay, price has just been moving up. Similar scenario, right? Similar scenario, right? Where you had a potential crown action, right? We've moved higher. Okay, we've moved higher past that left tip. It continues to move bullish, but you can see, right, moving sideways a bit there. Okay, so we come into the daily. You can zoom in on that move, that push up, right? We've got a 382 pullback off the daily, and we're in this range right now, but you can see how it's moving from the bottom to the top, back to that 128.22 level. Okay, so it's been bullish. It makes perfect sense, right? It makes perfect sense when you look at the DXY, and here we are, okay? Here we are on the 4, and here's that range I was talking about, okay? that range that we're playing in here. So if it's going to continue long to our 4-hour D extension and beyond, right, we needed to break that range. We needed to break through that 128.22. Okay. But you can see here, right, we covered this in the past towards the end of the year, where you can see how same thing that happened, right, on the other setups that we saw. Okay. You can see how price gave us a huge bullish signal. Okay. Huge bullish signal. Then we got stuck within this range between 126 and 128. Okay. But this, right, when you're studying, right, your entry techniques, okay, this is textbook. Okay. It's hard to turn a blind eye to this scenario. And what do I mean by that? Okay. Past resistance, that's an OB boundary becoming future support. Okay. This is actually a daily support level. At a 61.8, we got a double bottom. Okay. And a double bottom here. The market will tell you what it wants to do. And you just have to trust in your skill set, okay, and your education. You got a double bottom there, and you got a huge bullish engulfing candle that took off out of that zone, okay? Broke your trend line. That's a go, okay? That's a go. Now, if, right, these rules are in your trade plan and you take this trade and say this trade didn't go your way, so you followed all your rules, like, hey, I've got I'm trading a C to D move. I have a deep correction, 61.8. I've got structure there. Okay, I've got candlestick. I've got a double, but this price came back and double bottom. I've got a bullish engulfing candle, right? Everything is lining up. Everything is lining up for me, okay? And if this trade turns over and it hits your stop loss, right? We've got a bullish engulfing candle that broke trend line. I enter the trade. It hits my stop loss eventually. Is that a good trade or a bad trade? Somebody tell me. All my rules are met. Trade just didn't go my way.
Bad trade.
It's a bad trade. All your rules are met.
Good trade.
Yep. 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 Appreciate the participation. That's a good trade. That's a good trade. Okay. We already come in, right? Knowing. Give me 1 second. All right. So our credo, accepting all possible losses before entering a trade, preparing you for any outcome. Trusting your education, strategy, trading skills, and intuition. Obey your trading strategy, avoiding decisions based on greed and fear. Never looking back or stopping once your trade has commenced. Okay? That's a good trade. Right? That's a good trade. Okay? That's a good trade. We follow all of our rules. We're understanding that, hey, from the very beginning, before we even take the trade, we're accepting all outcomes. We know that we don't win every single trade. Okay? So that's a good trade. If it met all my rules in my trade plan, because my trade plan ultimately, after I've tested that trade plan, and I know that I have an edge, ultimately my edge will play out over time. So that's still a good trade. It just wouldn't have gone my way. Now, in this case, so far, it's going our way. Okay. So just some things to remember, to help you to relieve some of your stress, right? And not get so worried when you lose a trade. It's like, hey, you have to keep following your plan. Okay. And question. See your hand raised.
It's that part that I wrestle with, that even though if I lose the trade, I have
Mhm.
to have it in my mindset that it's still a good trade. So that's what I'm
Absolutely.
trying to come to grips with.
Absolutely. And it's tough. That's why I wanted to cover it this morning, right? Because I know it's something that, a lot of us struggle with, and it's a never ending battle, right? It's a never ending battle, especially, if you have a personality where, hey, you just want to be right all the time, and trading can humble us, and make us realize that, we're not right all the time, and that's okay. And you don't have to be, right? You don't have to be, especially, for example, if you're constantly in this play here, okay, and you're putting yourself, you know, in a positive risk to reward ratio, 3 to 1, you don't have to win every trade, right? So your win percentage doesn't have to be the primary focus. And I speak on that because I used to be that type of person. Right? I used to be that type of person, and trading taught me a major lesson, as it relates to that. So if you're a person that's in that, that fits in that category, um, like me, just give yourself time. Continue to give yourself time. Continue to work on it. Continue to work on your mindset. Which is why we have those sessions, right? Ryan does an excellent job of running that on Monday. Because that's very, 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 very important. So if you're wrestling with it, like Ann said, no worries. Just keep pushing forward. Keep pushing forward. Okay. So and once you overcome that, there'll be something else that you need to overcome. That's life. But it's all good. Ryan, anything on that?
I'm in 100% agreement with you, right? And it's forcing the new habit and the new belief, right? So things you can do is write it down, and then every time you have something that contradicts that, you go back and you read that new belief, and then you take an action that reinforces that new belief, right? But at the beginning, when you're shifting these beliefs and shifting these habits, it's a forced action. It's a forced action until you make those small steps. But in that forced action, you have to take an action that contradicts that limiting belief that you have. Right? That's what has to happen. If you don't do that, then you're not changing anything. Right? So you have to make sure you make that change and you make that forced action to counteract that limiting belief that you have. And having that statement, that credo right there, and then maybe you rewrite it, right? Every time you have that feeling, right? You rewrite that sentence in the credo, and you remind yourself, and you remind yourself, and you remind yourself. So, 100%, bro.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Any other questions on that or on the pound dollar where we are right now ahead of the news at 8:30? All right. So there we are on that, on the pound dollar. Let's move on. Take a look at the New Zealand, New Zealand dollar. Okay. See where we are. Here we are on the daily. Okay. So we got this 236 pullback, right? We've come in and I just ran the fib off the lows because I wanted to see where we were, right? But we've got all of these dollar pairs are kind of lining up the same in regards to the momentum with the stochastic, right? For the most part. So we'll link this down because we've got a new low of support there, right? So we've come back down to that B boundary to test it. And right now, see, we're moving sideways, right? Sideways. Got a bit of a gap there. Right. We'll see if we'll fill it. But right now we're moving sideways. We're holding above that 61.79 level. Okay. So technically, right, we're in the 80-20 zone here. Okay. Let's see what happens. Can go either way. Okay, we know that when the strong fundamental data comes out, there's no technical structure that'll stand in his way. Okay, so let's see what happens. We move down through the charts on the 4. Okay. And we can see it, right? We got a 382 pullback up against daily support. That's 60.84 level. And you can see how we are just trapped right now. Right? Still holding above trend line, it's trapped. Okay. I adjusted my trend line to the outside because after we pushed down, right, it started moving sideways. So I just wanted to take it to the outside of the range, right, to see if it stays above it or if we get a continued break below. Okay, but that's where we are right now. So this lets us know that, hey, we need a breakout. Okay. We need a breakout. That's classic there. It's a classic setup. We need to get above some levels. Okay. So let's see if the data at 8:30 will serve as a catalyst for us. Questions on the NZD USD? Yep.
No, sir.
All right. Let's take a look at the dollar CAD. Okay. So here we are. Where we got the morning starter form. We don't have a new weekly support there yet, right? We need this weekly candle to close out. Okay, but you can see how we're hovering a little bit neutral. Here we are on the daily, right? We got the initial reaction, right? Play right into our 80-20 setup on the 4, and we're moving sideways, right? We're moving sideways. So here's another level of support. Okay, if you don't know, just plug in your smart support, smart resistance. Okay, so we got a swing low there. So right now we can say, hey, we're holding above 132.86, whatnot, 87. And we can link that down through the lower time frames. Okay. We don't have a high there yet because we don't have this daily candle closed out. Up, down, and sideways, everybody. Up, down, and sideways. That's how the market moves. Okay. So here we are. Now I've closed mine out ahead of the data, right? That's just something that I'm doing. I just closed out the position, right? Didn't take a partial. I just closed it out as moving sideways. It got close to that TP1. I'm up enough on that position, right? We see it's a 200 pip TP1, right? I'm good. Okay. I know how I can get in regards to greed. So one of the things that I've disciplined myself to do in this particular case is I'm just taking the money off the table. Okay. So that's just me, right? And how I'm handling my trade plan. But it's a beautiful move, a beautiful swing out of that 80-20 zone off of that daily support. Okay. Take profit. Yes. Yes. Reaching weekly resistance. So I am out. Ryan, are you still holding, or you close out part of it, or you're out completely?
I'm out of there too.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Done with that one. We'll see what happens. Right. We'll see what happens. It's been a good move. Joy says she's out. Okay. Yep. Yeah, I don't want to mess around. I don't want to get any of that back. Right. Was patient enough to let it run. No, that's your TP1. But when you come up here, right, you see how this is starting to start. It's starting to stall out a bit. Right. Right here across this level. Right. At least that's what I'm seeing there. Okay. And it's ahead of the data. So we'll see what happens with that. Okay. That's the UCAD going on down to the dollar Swissy, same type of scenario. So here we are, right? We can see we're starting to put in a low here, okay, on the weekly. All right. And if we come to the daily, Okay, we can see how we're stalling out ahead of the data. So if we come down to the 4, okay, we're just moving sideways, right? We rejected off that weekly, that daily resistance level there, and we're just moving sideways. We're just moving sideways. Okay. So that's where we are on the dollar Swiss. We're not near TP1 yet. Okay, we're not near TP1 yet. So ahead of the data, right? One of the things that I'm probably going to do isn't that a lower high? Which you're talking about on this dollar Swiss, and
Yes.
yes, it is. It is, right? And we're moving sideways. We got a rejection. So right now, right, you've got a high there, right? Retested that daily level and it's moving sideways. It can go either way, right? So if you're in this one, right, we're not as close to that TP1 like we were on that dollar CAD, right? So maybe you adjust your stops, right? Maybe you adjust your stops in case we get a reaction back to the downside, right? Move your stop up if you're in profit slightly, right? Maybe you adjust your stop. Maybe you hold. Depends on what you do. Maybe you reduce your position. Okay. Maybe you reduce your position. Take some off the table. Right now, if you're slightly up, reduce the trade position. So it comes down to trade management and how you have it drawn up in your game plan in regards to if you're going to hold through major fundamentals. All right, Ryan, how are you handling this trade?
That's actually one that I'm not in.
Okay. Okay. All right. So that's that. Yeah, so we'll see how it plays out. Let's take a look at the dollar yen. So we see that we're bullish, right, for the most part. Okay, look at that. That's gonna put in right. Well, depending on how the news comes out, right, that could be putting in the low to close the week. Okay, and finding support. Don't have it yet on the weekly. The daily, okay, we do, right? You can see where it found support. We broke it above 144.97. Okay, stochastics in the sell zone. Okay, but you can see how this has just been moving up. Okay, look at that. Look at that huge correction, how we didn't get to that D extension and price came all the way back down on the daily. So let's see what happens, right? Do we have crown potential here? Yeah, we have a potential for a crown, for a pullback, but it's all going to depend on the news and the fundamental data, right? So if we come down here to the 4, okay. So I'm just tracking, right? This trend line break here, right? So there's that huge correction that came back down. And this is how I have it on the 4, right? Zoomed in. Okay, so we've got pretty much a 50% pullback. Let's see if it holds above 144.97. Okay, if it doesn't, we may be moving down for a deeper correction. Okay, no way to tell till after the data comes out. Any questions on the dollar yen?
No,
No?
sir.
Okay. All right. So let's move on down, take a look at gold. See where we are on the daily. All right, we put in another low there. Okay. Okay. That's to the lower. We don't have a high. We got a high up here. All right. Okay. There. Okay. So we know how volatile gold can be. Right? So we'll see what happens at 8:30. Right? We get it pushed through the level or if it comes down. All right, here we are on the 4. Yeah, again, right? See the patterns. Look at the explosive candle. Right? We saw that on the pound dollar, the euro dollar, Aussie dollar. Okay. And now we're just moving sideways, waiting on the data, right? And so you can see why we like to wait, because the market is waiting. Okay. The market is waiting. Right? It forces you to be patient. If not, you get caught, you get whipsawed in a bunch of mess, right? And you lose money, unnecessarily. Okay, so here we are, right? There's that huge break, and now we're moving sideways. Okay, it's a nice move. Now we're moving sideways. We need a breakout. Okay, we need a breakout. Questions on gold?
No, sir.
Let's swing. Let's take a look at this dollar versus the Mexican peso. See what we've got on here. This up. Right, I did the same thing. Didn't you have to mark this up yesterday?
Yeah, I did.
I did. I thought I had marked this one up when I redrew my charts, but I guess not. So I'll do the same thing on this dollar Mexican peso, right? For good practice, right? So we're gonna put in, okay, our extreme high. Okay, put in our low. And let's put in our support and resistance levels. Like so. We're right at a key level ahead of the data. So it's good to actually do this. This one in monthly level, since if we break out to the downside, we'll be headed towards that. And if we eventually push long, it's a long-term level. So we'll go to the weekly. Zone. And we got this level here. Like so. All right. And now we'll link these down. Daily. It's support. Uh, so you can see, right? We got a decent bounce off that level. All right. We were moving down prior to that. You can see the overall long-term move, right? We came in the 61.8 on the dollar Mexican peso, and then it's been moving bearish, and we found support in the zone again. Okay. Price pulling back. So overall bearish. Okay. So that's where we are. Okay. Ahead of the data. Okay. So that's that on the 4. We can run it from the 1 as well, just to see. It's a beautiful 80-20 there off that subfib. Beautiful. Look at that. AB boundary, shallow retracement, less than a 382. Look at that swing. All right, let's do 2 TP levels on that. Okay. Overall, okay, our move is bearish. See that? Not hard to mark up a chart, is it, everybody, right? When you do it like that, just follow the steps. Okay. So that's where we are on the US dollar versus the Mexican peso. Okay. So, right, we've got to pull back to a 50%, which is up against a weekly level. So when we talk about, price hitting key fib levels, with additional structure, easy peasy, it is. All right, additional structure, that's right there. Okay, that's textbook. And now, all right, so you think to yourself, overall, this move is down, but if we break above 1710, then we could head higher, right? We could just be doing the dance within the zone, within the AB boundary. But ultimately, right, if this downtrend is going to continue, we want to see it hit that D extension. Okay. But there's no doubt about it. This price overall, now we know we have our plays in between and things like that, our 80-20s, but when you look at overall trend, right, this is moving down. Okay. Like so. 1, 2, and straight through. And we're in the zone. So let's see what happens. Any questions regarding the US dollar versus the Mexican peso? Okay.
No, sir.
All right. That's that. Let's take a look at oil. Okay. Ahead of the data. Let's see what we have. Okay. It's all over the place. You are correct. That's not giving us much, right? We actually pull in a low here, shallow low here. So it's just moving sideways. You don't want to mess with that.
You know what? I think I sent the
Mhm.
article, well, the video about what was going over in India. So
Okay.
are they still preventing the ships to go through the what's that, the Red Sea?
I don't
Yeah, they
know.
are. They are. It's still an issue because the junta are still attacking those ships. So there are some that are making that questionable trade, but the majority of them have stopped taking that route because of the attacks that have occurred so far.
Okay. Wow. Well, the drama continues. The drama continues. So there we are. we need
It's no
so
longer
we
oil, then. It's no longer it's to be a drama series called As the World's Turn.
for sure. For sure. We got our 80-20 to play out on it. Right. So I haven't done much since, you know, in regards to oil. But eventually it'll pick a direction, right? So it's still within this down AB boundary. So you're thinking still, even though it's choppy and moving sideways, it pushed all the way up to a 50% level. And then it moved down. So this is still structured to the downside for now. Right? This line was from a long time ago. So it's still structured to the downside. And you can see it's just moving across the middle of our screen. So you can see how it's moving from top left down to bottom right. And now it's just moving sideways. Right? So it is what it is, but it's still within our AB boundary. I could clear this off now. That's been a while for that play. So that's come and gone. It's a nice one for us. Right. So technically still sitting bearish, right? Just range bound right now. Get that out. So take this out too. Okay. So that's what we look like. Where? All right. So that's that. Let's move on. And I want to take a look at the S&P. See where we are. Okay. So look at this rally that this is putting in. Okay. Look at that. That is amazing how resilient this market has been. It has gone straight up since testing that 4,100 level. Look at this. It's a little bit off. 878. Is that beautiful or what? 4,104 monthly level came right in. 50% fib level. You got structure there. And look at how that accelerated off the lows. Right? Stochastic is back in the buy zone. It's got good momentum. Let's see what happens at 8:30. Okay. See if this can rally, push through the high, and hit that D extension. When we say the market moves in waves, it really does move in waves. Okay. So, all right, we come here to this level. Pull this out. Right. And this is just a zoomed in view. Okay. So this should be 48.78. Okay. So let's see what happens with the daily, right? So we're in the middle of an 80-20 on the 4, which we can see that on a higher time frame where it's stalling. Daily stochastic is back in the buy zone. We've got a 4-hour stochastic that's overbought. And so that makes sense, right? How things get choppy. When you've got a lot of times when your stochastics are off and they're not in alignment, when you move through your time frames, a lot of times you do get a sideways move. right? That's just one of the things that we know. So let's see what happens with that data at 8:30 to see if it can serve as a catalyst, either to push this, out of this range to move bullish, so we can run into those extensions, or if we can get one more correction to the downside. Right? But I still do look for the market to rally, right? It's just a matter of catching a low price on it at this point. Okay, it's definitely not buying it right now. Where it's at. Any questions on the S&P? Positive overall, though, for the most
No,
part.
sir.
No. All right. This is amazing. I posted in the community last night, right? Looking at the Nikkei. Right? Major index, Tokyo Stock Exchange. Okay. Look at what's happening. Look at these rallies. Sideways for quite some time, and look at the momentum. Daily, we just ran right into an extension, so we look for that to exhaust, right? Maybe do it before a correction, but look at that. We got again, price pushed out of that 80-20 zone. It's an awesome zone to trade. We didn't get to 382 though. Pushed right back down, but that's a huge move when you look at an index coming out of that zone. Then we U-turned. Okay, so we hit the extension. So that's where we are. I actually posted a link right, to the site. So make sure you look at that. Learn about the companies in the different sectors in Japan, right? Is that, Japan is nothing to sneeze at. It's the world's, I think, 5th largest economy, right? So we should pay attention. Pay attention to this. Okay. So that's what we look like there. Take a look at the Dow. Long, look at that. Look how that pushed through the high. It's all good. Look at that. Similar test of a monthly level. Look at that, right? Didn't the S&P do that? Boom. Straight up. Okay. We actually finished the ABCD wave. So we're getting to some pretty high levels, everybody. Right? We may be due for a correction soon, but that's not going to mean the end of the world like you'll probably see, right? Across the news channels, if we do end up getting a correction, it's just going to give us the opportunity for a new low price. Okay. So we don't, as investors, we're not going to run off thinking doomsday scenario if we see a correction, because technically we see where there could be a possibility for one in the near future, right? We keep it steady, we maintain our composure, and we look to pick up positions off of corrections, right? Like here, okay? Go back, right? Go back in time and look at some news articles when this was happening, right? People dumping everything, right? But for the savvy investor, for the technical trader, we're establishing a low price within the AB boundary to get long. That's how it goes. Right? That's how it goes. Isn't that amazing? Blue, it's a blue. 786 retracement, 127 extension. Can't make this stuff up. All right. Let's take a look at Bitcoin. Approaching key level. It's a key level. All right. We've been here before. Yeah, I think so. Let's see. It got dumped. It got dumped at this level before. All right. Who knows? All right, here we are. Got a 382 pullback there. Stochastic still in the buy zone, maybe, right? Maybe we push up. Maybe we push through that level, finally hit that extension. right? Get through some new highs, and then that would make sense for a correction, right? If we break through that 48,182 level, hit that extension at 50,874, get a correction back down. Let's see. Wait for it to come below your cloud. What time frame are you playing the cloud? You got it running throughout? Well, let's just look at it. 1 hour. Okay. To the 1 hour. It will eventually come back through there. So we shall see. At some point, we'll get the correction on it. So that's Bitcoin. Take a look at can't remember if I marked this one up or not. Yep. Good Ethereum, everybody. That's moving pretty good. Look at it, how it broke out of that range. If we exhaust. All right. Okay. All right. If you don't have anything on your charts, like look at that. Breakout traders, especially the higher time frames, this is golden. That might push through that 80-20 zone. That might move straight to the to the next level of daily resistance. Maybe not. That's about to hit a D extension on the 4. It's that range, look. Same thing we saw, right? Higher time frame. Doesn't matter the asset class, everybody. You can take the same approach. That's the beauty of what we do. Doesn't matter. Look at your prior ABCD wave off of 61.8 to get the extension. Okay. Different look here. We got range bound, but you were within the AB boundary and we broke out. ADA, we can I'm out of time now, but we can look at it. I'll write that down. We'll look at it tomorrow. We can look at it tomorrow. ADA. Okay. Yeah, we'll look at it tomorrow. I just wrote that down. Ron, question. Go ahead, you got it. I think your microphone was on, weren't able to talk. Should be able to now, though. Oh, okay. 15 minutes. 80-20 scenario, right? But with the way it's moving, right? Let's use your additional confirmations. We pushed up past that zone, right? We may get it, but we pushed up past that zone, right? Thank you for spotting that on the 15. Who was that? Ann. Absolutely, right? Drop you some sevens on that one, Ann. Right? You're seeing that, right? But just wait, right? We pushed up above our zone. So I would say, hey, let's get some trend lines involved. Okay. Pull out our trend lines and see if we can catch a break, or if we use the cloud or whatnot. All right, so look for confirmation because it's been moving pretty good, pretty fast paced to the upside. The bulls have definitely been in control. Right. It's got it drawn up differently. Same idea, same zone, really, but stay with the smart analytics, right? So we want to see this push down, right? And you've got we get price to break down, right? To the downside. So keep an eye out for that one. Let's see what we get. Okay, see how it's impacted. Let's see how these Bitcoin scenarios are impacted with the data at 8:30 as well, right? Because we've got it, both of these are pegged against the dollar. All right. No sound. On mine, can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So no sound. Ron, you mean so hopefully you can hear me, Ron. But I took your microphone. I gave you access to your microphone. So that way we can get your question answered in the community. All right, that's that. Ryan, what do you have before we wrap things up?
Real quick, was everybody able to find the recordings of the sessions? And I was supposed to go over it the other day. I popped in and did a quick live, and I recorded that.
And you put that in the community, right?
Yeah, it's in the community. It's recorded at the top of the meetup section. The recordings live there. You can watch the recording, but within each circle, so we have our inner circle live circle, and then we have our weekly ritual circle. There's a post that's made every time a session starts, and the recording link will live in the comments of that post for that day. So cool.
Awesome.
Cool. Awesome.
Appreciate
it. That's it. Great session, bro. Yeah, that's it, man.
All right. So let's see what happens at 8:30. We'll make sure that we post in the community once the data comes out, what the results are, and then we'll decide what we're going to do moving forward. So that's that. Appreciate all of you being here, right? Joining us this morning. And we will see everybody again tomorrow, 6:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, to see what happens on these charts after the CPI data.